So here we are at the entrance to the Lanayru Desert, and I haven't mentioned this in the previous video, but this is probably one of my favorite themes in the entire game in terms of the background music. In general, I think Skyward Sword, while it might have the best overall soundtrack to a Zelda game, like from beginning to end, I don't think it has the clear standout songs like some of the other games had. But I think the Lanayru Desert theme is one of my favorite themes. Anyway, right at the beginning here, there is a time shift stone right underneath the boulder here, so blow it up and hit it, and while most of the area that was previously within the time shift stone section is still there, the vines will be created. You can climb up and pick up an ancient flower treasure. There's a pathway to the right that leads to a secret, but we are not going to cover that in this chapter as it involves a side quest much later on in the game. So there are a few new enemies in this area as well as a few new treasure. In particular, there is Tumbleweed. When you run across certain areas of the desert, if you immediately turn around, or if you just stop in place, or if you just start walking instead of running, Tumbleweed will roll right by, and they appear in specific areas of the desert, and you need to use your bug net to capture these tumbleweeds or to pick them up, and they're quite valuable actually. Tumbleweeds are a necessity for many of the upgrades, so be sure to pick them up whenever you can. This right here is a new enemy known as an Ampilus or Ampilus. Not sure exactly how to pronounce that one, but they're basically these slug or snail-like creatures that once they spot Link, they'll roll into him, and they have this like electrified shell. They'll basically be persistent in rolling towards you. What you really need to do is just hide right behind a platform or a boulder or whatever, and the Ampilus will basically roll, and it'll hit the wall, and it'll stun itself, where you can just slash away with your sword. Anyway, run on over and open this treasure chest to get a Tumbleweed, which may be your first or second one, depending on whether or not you caught one before. But over here, Fi will mention about the Tumbleweeds. Anyway, jump on top of the little grate right here, and in the next crate there is a hole at the top of it, and you can conveniently toss a bomb through the hole, and there is a boulder inside of that little structure, and once you blow it up, it will reveal a time shift stone. Toss another one of the bombs, and this time it will hit the time shift stone, and it will cause this little remote area right here to revert to the past, and this triggers the creation of a new enemy in the form of a Technoblin. It's a variation of the Bokoblin, and I actually like the name Technoblin. Well, number one, it's sort of self-explanatory what it is. It's a techno version, or electric version, I guess, of the Bokoblin. However, I like it because it's not just like a color variation or a, choo-choo fire, choo-choo electric. It's like a whole nother name in a way, Technoblin. Different than most Zelda games in the past. Anyway, your shield bash is probably the most effective way to defeat it, but you need to have the wooden shield. Otherwise, just wait for him to hold his like electric shock thing. It's like, I don't know what exactly that tool is he's holding, but once he's holding it to the side, allow him to move it and then slash away. Anyway, speak to the ancient robot that was sort of being held here, captured, and for saving him, he will take your beetle and upgrade it to the Hook Beetle. The Hook Beetle is, well, it's the upgraded form of the regular beetle, and basically what it allows you to do is not only can you now send it out to like scavenger and collect things, but you can use its handles to grab onto certain items, such as bombs, as you see right here. And this area is found right here is meant pretty much just so you can practice using the Hook Beetle. So you can fly it on over, grab onto the bomb, and then drop it into these like bomb structures, causing them to fall over, and you can pick up some rupees within them. You'll notice on the ledge to the right, higher up, there is a like strange looking target. These will not be used until much later on in the quest when we get a brand new item. So despite the fact that you'll see them all throughout the Lanayru region, they're pretty meaningless right now. In this area there is an Electro Spoon in the within the quicksand, or the sink sand as they call it. You could use the beetle to grab one of the bombs and drop it right on top of one of the electric spoon if you'd like. Otherwise, what you want to do here is use the Hook Beetle to grab onto the bombs and lower the various structures over here. This will basically allow you a way of navigating across the sink sand. As before we got the Hook Beetle, we were sort of stuck in this little area here. So once you've dropped all of the statues here, you can run across the sink sand, and you barely have enough stamina to make it across. So after you run across, make sure you restore all your stamina before you continue along to the next platform. Be sure to pick up the rupees that are within where the bomb structures previously were, and in fact one of these areas has a amber relic, which in all honesty is not much more useful than the rupees, just because there's so many of them. Although later on in the quest you'll actually be able to sell some of your treasures for rupees, which is kind of useful. Anyway, you could climb up over here, and then in the distance there is a soft soil location that you can dig up just to pick up some extra rupees. This particular one seemed to have, well, I got 2 blue rupees out of it, so it was definitely worth it. Over here to the right there is a brand new bird-like enemy known as a Harok. You pretty much can avoid them completely for now, but we'll run into them more at a later portion of the Lanayru Desert in a couple of videos from now. So let's just ignore them for now. There are a few Ampilus in the sand area over here to the left, and what you need to do is, well, the best way of defeating them, you toss bombs of your own, but your best bet is to use the beetle, grab one of the bombs, and drop it right on top of the little slug-like creature. It will be defeated, but more importantly, it will leave behind its shell, and the shell will float over the quicksand. Not exactly sure why the shell does not sink, but you can use it basically as a platform while standing on top of the sea of the sand, so you won't sink underneath. You can use it to get on over to the goddess cube that is in the distance, so deliver a Skyward Strike, and by the time you actually deliver the Skyward Strike, the Ampilus will regenerate. These enemies there's basically an infinite number of them in a select region, so even if you've defeated it, it will just keep coming back to life, or a new one will respawn, I guess is the better way to think about it. So you'll have to use a bomb once again to defeat it, and then we can make our way across the remainder of this area. There are some long like gaps that you have to make your way across, depending on where you defeat the Ampilus. But anyway, make your way on over to the bird statue over at this edge of the Lanayru Desert, and this is the West Desert bird statue. It's an important statue as it'll be useful a lot later on in the quest. One thing you could do, this is completely optional, and there's really not much point in doing it actually, but it just makes navigation easier in the Lanayru Desert. You could run along this long ramp here, and there is a minecart in the distance here, and you can push the minecart down, allowing you to create a platform of sorts. There are some Lanayru ants over here that you can pick up with the bug net. I believe I was able to capture one of them, but I believe there was 3 of them in that area, and I think it changes from time to time depending on I think it's a little random. Sometimes there's only 1, or there's 2, or there's 3 of them. Anyway, we want to make our way all the way back to the bird statue, and you can use your dash mechanic if you'd like. I find it kind of annoying that in these areas where there's not much to do and you're just running across like long stretches, that your stamina runs out. I guess that's just a little annoying thing, but I guess you get sort of used to being able to run across for long distances that you know, not being able to, or having to stop and walk. It's we've sort of been spoiled with the whole running. Anyway, in this area there's sort of like a waterfall of sand on the left, and it's pushing the sand over, and basically when you defeat an Ampilus here, the shell will stop in its place, but it will basically move along the sand. So what you need to do is defeat it, run across to the shell, and then run across that way. On this platform over here, there is a Gerudo Dragonfly, and Gerudo, for those of you who are familiar with the Zelda series, is a well-known name that's usually associated with the Gerudo tribe, which is a female race that they are not in the they're not in Skyward Sword actually. It's also usually associated with the locations of desert regions. In particular, there was the Gerudo Valley and Gerudo Fortress in Ocarina of Time, and then there was the Gerudo Desert in Twilight Princess, which was like the desert region, and I believe the Gerudo were also in I want to say they were in Four Swords Adventures as well, and they were in Majora's Mask as well. But the Gerudo Dragonfly, it's well, I guess it's fitting that they put it in the desert region, because that's sort of what the Gerudo have historically been known for in the Zelda series. Anyway, you want to ride over on the Ampilus shell to this edge of the area, and you can make your way over to this platform just to get some extra rupees. But otherwise, you want to head on over to the safe location at the other edge of the quicksand here, and this basically leads to the next area of the Lanayru Desert, which is the Temple of Time, and we will be covering that in the next video, so I'll see you guys then.